Okay, so you wake up and you feel unrefreshed, you feel tired, you feel groggy. As always, you're wondering when you can get to that coffee. You love that coffee in the morning. And then for some reason, you're just thinking about snacking and chowing down on all of those foods, all of those high energy foods just to help you get through the day. All the while you're wondering, I wish I had got some deeper sleep. And I share this story with you because this is exactly what I used to go through before I learned the lessons that I'm about to share with you. The 6 principles for deep sleep I wish that I learned earlier. Welcome back to the Believe in Growth video broadcast. My name is Dr. Nilesh Satguru, high performance coach, a medical doctor, and I'm very excited about this one. You know, I love talking about sleep. I feel so grateful and honored to have sat on the UK's Sleep Steering Committee through my role with the British Society of Lifestyle Medicine. And it's just an honor to be here to talk about a subject I'm so passionate about. And also, as some of you well know, that we've recently had our second baby, so sleep is a big topic in our house, as you can imagine. So by the end of this video, we're hopefully going to be able to help you get to Monday morning feeling refreshed without having to go to bed at 8:30 on Sunday night, or without hours of a long wind down routine, or without a strict bedtime. Sound good? Let's dive straight in. First of all, I may be sharing things here that you guys are like, yeah, I know this, but sometimes I'm not here to share something completely new, and I'm here to remind you of what's important. I'm here to ask you, are you consistent enough? Are you doing this more? What could you do better? Because even these principles, even after I've studied sleep so deeply, it's so easy still to be led astray, to not live aligned with your true principles. You see, when I provide this evidence, that will help shape the belief so that you can engage in those healthy behaviors for the future. So let's talk about 3 reasons why we need deep sleep. Well, the first sort of overriding principle, and not a reason as such, is that sleep is the foundational pillar for health. Why? Well, let's just take that example from the start. You see, when we sleep poorly, it affects many things. Our hormones are one. For one, we see leptin be decreased and ghrelin be increased. Ghrelin, I like to think of it as your hunger gremlin. It's the one that encourages you to eat more. And we know from a lot of research that people will eat around 500 calories more when they have not slept well. And leptin is the hormone to tell us when we're full. So we feel less full, we want to eat more. You see, that then results in us eating more sugary foods, more high energy foods, which as a result can make us feel sluggish because we get that spike in sugar and that crash. As a result, we may be feeling a little bit more stressed. We may not want to connect with people as much. We may not want to go out and feel as good as we usually do. And what do? We reach for coffee in the afternoon, and that keeps us awake later at night, and it becomes this vicious cycle. Now, I share this with you guys, having experienced all of these things. And it is so incredibly common for people to struggle with sleep. It is the number one problem that I see really when it comes to health. When I ask people, what are you struggling with your health? And I ask them about sleep, relaxation, food, or movement, people inevitably choose sleep. It's just a sign of the times. Let's talk about the 3 reasons. And this is all based on research. I know many of you would have heard of the fantastic book from Matthew Walker, Why We Sleep. And this research is taken from that. The first is that we know that poor sleep doubles your risk of cancers. Let's just examine why that is. Well, when we sleep, the purpose of sleep is to heal. It's to reset your brain and your body's biochemistry. It's for your immune system to get to work. And cancer essentially is a disordered immune system. It's when we get an over-proliferation of certain cells, and as a result, that forms a cancer. So poor sleep doubles your risk of cancer. Second of all, we know it increases your risk of Alzheimer's disease. And Alzheimer's disease is a very, very tragic condition. We now know that the brain literally has a cleaning mechanism, and that cleaning mechanism does not work so well if we don't get the right amount and the right depth of sleep. And third of all, and this one is really shocking, I speak about sugar balance quite a lot when we talk about health. It is really one of the cornerstones of good health. But we know that sleeping poorly, even just for 1 week, can make you pre-diabetic. This is really, truly fascinating. And do you know what? It probably rings true because I remember when I wasn't sleeping so well on nights as a doctor, and all kinds of odd cravings I had and all kinds of changes in my weight. You know, sometimes I would lose weight, sometimes I would put weight on. We know this to be true for night shift workers. So we all agree that sleep is vital and essential for health. It's a foundational pillar. It helps reduce the risk of many conditions. And I haven't even really got onto the whole mental aspects, which, as you well know, is something I'm very passionate about. Let's talk about these 6 principles for sleep. For deep sleep, I wish I learnt earlier. Okay, I want you guys to really listen in to these, because these will hopefully be a bit of a belief shift from what we think we already know. I wrote these specifically because I know many of you guys, you know about sleep hygiene. This isn't your first rodeo. I'm not going to teach you guys to, turn the lights down and make sure that you've had a bath before bed, etc., etc. Those things are all helpful. I'll be going just that next step, that next level for somebody that's already feels like they're sleeping okay, but this is about going to a new level. Okay, principle number 1. Sleep is not a conscious process. I'm going to say it again. Sleep is not a conscious process. This is huge. This is a game changer. How many people try to get to sleep? I was definitely in that bracket. I remember after the birth of my first child, I remember struggling with sleep. I remember I'd struggle to get to sleep. I would wake up in a deep sleep and I would feel groggy in the mornings. And the truth was I was doing a lot of habits that weren't very conducive. One thing was I was trying to get to sleep. Now, when we involve our conscious thought, we involve our prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal cortex needs to shut down in order for us to get to those slower brain waves, to go from beta to alpha to theta to delta, that deep restorative sleep. So if you are struggling with sleep, I've actually done a video on my blog. It's on www.believeingrowth.uk blog/6. So /blog/6. It's the 6th one. And it's basically a self-hypnosis. It's a calming way for you to calm and relax your body. And when you focus on calming and relaxing as opposed to thinking, and you stay focused on that, you will fall asleep. So sleep is not a conscious process. Number 2, and this is out there for all you strivers. I know loads of you guys, change makers, compassionate change makers, wanting to grow and perform at your best. Number 2 principle is waking up at the same time every day is unrealistic. You're like, what, Nilesh, what do you mean? Everyone says it's about your circadian rhythms. Make sure that you wake up at the same time every day. Hear me out. Of course, waking up at roughly the same time every day is very important. But I know that a lot of people are too unrealistic with themselves, and I've done this myself. You say, every day I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. I'm a 5 a.m. kind of guy. And the truth is, sometimes you go to bed later. Sometimes life happens. Sometimes you got a baby screaming in the other room. And it's not possible to wake up at 5 a.m. Also, something I've been doing recently is I no longer use an alarm clock. And so I will wake up in a window between 5 a.m. and 5:30 a.m. This is why waking up at the same time is unrealistic. Our sleep cycles vary, our life changes, we have different circumstances. And so it's back to the same principle I spoke about a while ago, is set yourself goal windows. Don't be so unrealistic and hard on yourself. And make sure you build up the belief that you can sleep well, that you can get deep sleep and feel refreshed. So many clients I work with, one of the first things they say is, I'm waking up late again. I said, how late do you wake up? 15 minutes. I said, that's not late. Don't worry. That's fine. Be kind of just set the window. And we know also this to be true with the great alarm clock brand Lumi. Their alarms last for half an hour. They don't last for just bang on. jolt you out of sleep. When we do that, we activate the sympathetic nervous system. And when we do that, it's actually more likely for us to suffer with stress, for us to suffer with cardiac conditions, and the list goes on. Okay, principle number 3. Be meticulous about your environment. Be meticulous about your environment. Not long ago, I went to go stay with my family who live in the Netherlands at Christmas. And this was after I got deep into lifestyle medicine, where we used to dim the lights at 8:30, so there's nothing else in the house, just candles. And went to my family's house. Of course, they had the lights on. And me and my wife were like, what is this? This is crazy. We can't deal with this. And we even noticed that even a few hours of exposure to light in those surroundings, it stopped us from feeling as refreshed in the morning. And it's back to this principle. Once you've gone to the other side and then you come back to where you previously were, you realize what a massive gap there is. And I urge people to do this every now and again. When you grow, every now and again, just break routine and go back to what you used to do, just to see how far you've come. It's a fantastic marker. So what I mean by being meticulous with your environment, and specifically I'm talking about light, is every night I brush my teeth by candlelight. Because one of the main problems I hear people have is that they feel sleepy, they go up to bed, they go to brush their teeth, they switch the lights on, and then they're awake in bed. Because that light has literally blocked melatonin, the darkness hormone, the hormone that helps with deep restorative sleep. So be meticulous with light. And the second thing I say here is being meticulous with temperature. Now, many of you will have heard of maybe opening the window, and that's what we call ambient temperature. But I actually have something which has revolutionized my sleep, and I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but it's called a chili pad. Actually, the system's called an ULA, and it's a bed cooling system. So instead of me having a window open, I have a mattress topper which runs cool water over the mattress at night at about 13 degrees. And boy, that has made a huge difference. These two small things, every time I don't use them, I notice the difference. Principle number 4, the fourth principle for deep sleep, I wish I learned earlier, is that movement is a forgotten regulator of our circadian rhythm. What do I mean by this? Well, some people have the problem of either feeling really groggy first thing in the morning or feeling a bit too sleepy too early at night. I'm more of the sleepy too early at night. And since I changed my movement patterns where I would do a little bit more movement in the afternoon, I noticed a significant shift in my energy levels. And this makes sense. Of course, we know that exercise releases endorphins and loads of other neurotransmitters to help us feel more alert, switched on. Think about it from our tribal days. If we were moving, we were hunting, we were gathering. Therefore, we were more focused. We definitely weren't in the zone of sleep. But most of us spend our days sitting, sedentary, relaxing. So movement is a forgotten regulator of your circadian rhythm. If you're feeling tired, time to get moving. Movement is the very thing that can help you feel more energized. Principle number 5, never forget this one. The purpose of sleep is to heal. I'm going to say this again. The purpose of sleep is to heal. So again, back to this problem that a lot of people have. I'm not getting to sleep. Doctor, I don't sleep. I struggle with my sleep. Remember that you can access these healing states from the states before sleep. So if you're really struggling with sleep, if you haven't slept well, I read about this in one of the books by Nick Littlehales, who was Manchester United's sleep coach. He talks about something called a controlled recovery period. In the book, he describes how the football players would travel midweek, and of course, they couldn't get their 5 sleep cycles that they needed, their 7.5 hours. But they had these controlled recovery periods, which is 15 minutes to 30 minutes of shutting their eyes. See, our visual stimulus really does affect our energy levels. It stops us from getting to more deep, restful, and healing states. When we shut our eyes, we get closer back down to those brainwaves, alpha, theta, delta. So the purpose of sleep is to heal, and you can get to a more healing state through just the closing of your eyes. Principle number 6, a wind down routine trumps a strict bedtime. A wind-down routine trumps a strict bedtime. I remember not long ago, I saw this really young girl in clinic, she's about 16. She was struggling with self-harm, self-esteem. Her head was down low as she walked in, and she was struggling with her sleep. And we started to talk about it. I asked her about a nighttime routine. She said she didn't have a routine. And one of the things that we set up was just a wind down, a journaling. And literally with weeks later, she came back in, improved sleeping, no longer self-harming, feeling more like herself. Why? Because she had enabled herself to get to a more relaxed state so that her body could get to sleep, preparing her body for sleep. And of course, we must speak about this. One of the main functions of REM or REM sleep is something called fear extinguishing. Now, fear extinguishing means that we literally scan all of our memories from the day, and your brain and your subconscious organize it. It says, do I need to worry about that? Yes or no? This is why there are many people who experience anxiety first thing in the morning. It can be because they haven't been getting that deep REM sleep. So it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you guys. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this subject of sleep. Love to hear your thoughts and comments. The 6 principles: sleep is not a conscious process. Waking up at the same time is unrealistic. Be meticulous about your environment. Movement is forgotten regulator of our circadian rhythms. 5, the purpose of sleep is to heal. And 6, a wind down routine trumps a strict bedtime. I'll see you guys next week. Love to hear your thoughts. Take care.